Hey all, welcome back to Time Machine Scale Models. The other day, Luka Cee put out a challenge for us to make a video about our favorite box art. Now that's a hard task if you ask me. There's plenty of box art out there that I find amazing. But there's some that I'd like to talk about. We can't talk about box art without first mentioning Chip Foose. Chip Foose does some amazing renderings of the one-in-one cars that he builds. I love his artwork. I love his renderings. I'm a big fan of overhauling. I'm a big fan of Chip Foose and what he does. Oh, this is the 67 Dodge Coronet. I stole these wheels out of this kit for that 60 Starliner. So when I build this eventually, I'm going to have to find a different route for the wheels. Another one is a Chip Foose designed car. And this is 65 Chevy Impala. Y'all know I love Impalas. But again, another Foose design. Just look at them. They look fast sitting still. Just, they're amazing. And of course, the FD100. I love the backstory about this truck. Every time the episode comes on, I watch it, and it just brings a tear to my eye. Shh, don't tell anybody. This is not necessarily the box art on this, but I do love the Street Burner series that Revell brought to us. It gets mean when the light turns green. Every one of them says that on there. But anyway, who hasn't done this kit? Either this version or some other version of this kit. But this is one of my all-time favorites, and it evokes a lot of really good memories of the 55 Chevys, whether it be this version or the Chevy Bad Man. If I had to pick just one to be my favorite box art, it would be the Chevy Bad Man, Tom Daniels Chevy Bad Man. Why is that? Well, if you look at the box art and you look at what it depicts drag racing. There's 255 Chevys on the box. They're at Winter Nationals. The Bad Man is doing a wheel stand. The crowd is on their feet. They're going wild. Yeah, that evokes some emotions. It gets you excited about what's in that box, right? But let me tell you a little backstory about why I love that so much. When I was a kid, I lived in Spring Hill, Florida, and I lived in a community called Weeki Wachee Woodlands, okay? And there was a lot of older people there. It was more of a retirement community. It was a golf community. And in my neighborhood was this old man. Well, they were having a yard sale one time, and I happened upon the yard sale. Well, he had one table that was full of old model car built-ups. Amazing builds. Really clean, nice paint and everything. Now, we're talking way back in the 80s. So, as I got talking to this older gentleman, he realized my love for model building and cars in general. And I came upon the 1955 Chevy Bad Man. Bright yellow, just the infamous Chevy Bad Man. Right next to it was an old Pro, and it's another kit that I love the box art on. But we got to talking, and I really liked the model. So he turned around and he gifted me that built up. Didn't even charge me. All the models on the table were like $1, $2, and what have you. But he decided, because I love that build so much, and I love that car, and I love model building, that he was going to gift me that Chevy Bad Man. But it didn't end there. He told me to hold on a minute, and as I was looking at the Chevy Bad Man and just reveling over, my newfound gift, he went into his house and he came back out and he returned with a complete sealed 1955 Chevy Bad Man. And he gave it to me. You could imagine my excitement as a kid. I don't remember how old I was. I couldn't have been much more than 10, 11 years old. But I was excited. Not only did I have a build up from somebody that knew how to build model cars, and it was clean and perfect in my eyes, but I had one of my own that I could build. Now, of course, I probably didn't build that kit the way that he built that kit, and I'm sure it was a glue bomb, and I'm sure the paint was atrocious, because back then, I didn't know anything about spray cans, I didn't know about airbrushes, I didn't know anything. I got a couple jars of testers and a paintbrush, and I went to town. And a lot of times, the car was already built when I started painting. So you can imagine what that looked like by the time I was done. But I'm going to tell you, that 1955 Chevy Bad Man, the Tom Daniels, just evokes some awesome memories of building as a kid. So this kit right here will always hold a special place in my heart. And it's probably never going to be any different. So keeping with the Tom Daniels theme, man, oh man, the Paddy Wagon. Now, different box art over time. The one that I built was the picture of the built-up kit. And the one that I built when I was a kid did not have the figurines, unfortunately. But I remember this thing being such a hard time for me, and it probably looked like a pile of crap when I was done. It probably had glue everywhere. You know, back in the day, all we really knew was the tube glue, the tester's tube glue. So, you know, and that stuff gets stringy and it gets all over the place, and you get fingerprints and all kinds of stuff. And I remember building it right out of the box. It was molded in black, and I applied the decals. And I'm sure they look like absolute garbage too. So I went to a toy show and I saw this, and I have a list of kits that I built as a kid that I would like to have another shot at. And this is on that list. And this one had the figurines, so I was like, cool, I'll buy it. You know, and I'll eventually build it too. I'm not much of a show rod guy. I have a couple. I built plenty when I was a kid. But they're not my favorite subject to build. And I try to stick to hot rods and muscle cars and stuff. But there's a couple show rods that I have. Keeping with the show rod theme, this is my favorite show rod of them all. And again, there's a backstory of why I love this kit and this box art. So when I was a kid, I had a subscription to CarCraft and I had a subscription to Hot Rod Magazine. But also I used to collect Hot Rod magazines, especially vintage ones from the 50s and 60s and the 70s. So I was given a whole mess of Hot Rod magazines, I think they were. It could have been Car Culture or something like that, but whatever the case may be, they weren't the full size like what we know magazines to be now. They were pocket size. And in those pocket size, they had a feature, and for several months in a row, they featured the building and customization of the little coffin. Now, I love this car, and it's gone through so many transitions and renditions and restorations over the years. I don't even know if this still exists. I believe it does, and I believe that it was restored back to this rendition of the car. But I followed along with that, and it was probably my first taste of car customizing, and I just fell in love with the car, and I don't know why. And there's something else too. If you ever collected Hot Wheels cars, there's another version of this car that was called the Prowler. Now, I've only got this kit, and this box is dilapidated, but this kit is complete, and I'm going to build it. Well, a friend of mine has another little coffin, and it's sealed and complete. And I plan on getting that one. I plan on getting a few more of these because there's a couple things that I want to do. Not only build it as the show rod in this version, but I also want to build the Prowler. Okay? And if you guys remember, it had a $sign on there, and it had a masked man bandit type thing on the roof of the car, and I'm holding a money bag from bank. I plan on doing that version of the car as well. I don't know why This blows my hair back, but it does. I always have. I built it as a kid. And again, when I was a kid, I'm sure my kits look like absolute trash, but they bring back really awesome memories. So switching back to the Tom Daniels theme, the Street Fighter. I've always loved this kit, this car, this body style, right? The sedan delivery. And look at this box art on here, okay? I love the Street Fighter, the Bad Actor, Quicksilver. I love them all. But look at the box art on this, okay? What does it depict? It depicts this CUDA over here in the sedan delivery. They're drag racing, right? Look at it, just looks fast. Look at the tire wrinkles. That's awesome box art. That evokes some emotion. Yeah, I gotta get it, man. That thing looks fast. So yeah, who doesn't love that? All right, let's see. Some of the other stuff that I really dig. I like box art that shows car culture. And when you think of hot rods and muscle cars, you think of summertime, you think of car shows, you think of hanging out with car people, right? And for some reason, I'm really drawn to kits that show beach scenes, palm trees, surfing, sunshine, and sunny days, and people just generally having fun. So I kind of like that, and like I said, I'm drawn to it. So the 62 here has the palm trees in the back, and it just makes me think of LA for some reason. And when I think of LA, I think of lowrider Impalas and car culture. You know, there's a lot of car culture in Los Angeles, California. Keeping with that sunny day and beach theme, and there's a lot of them out there right now. There's a lot of surfing related things, but this here, look at it, right? Going to the beach, they're gonna surf. They probably got their cooler full of beverages and stuff. They're hanging out. You know, I mean, think about it. They got a bonfire going back here. A bunch of people sitting around bonfire. It's really cool box art. So, last but not least, let's adjust this camera a little bit here. I really like what Galaxy Limited did with this box art on this. I like the Fleet Masters, the style lines and stuff like that. I like the sleds, you know. And I really dig what they did here, showing the hot rod, the custom, and the stock version of the car. Instead of being pictures of the finished kits, it's showing you what they could be, which is really, really cool. Let me talk about one more. I shouldn't have said last but not least. I want to talk about one other one. We went through an era of where the box art depicted one-in-one cars. And some of those kits are some really good kits, and then there's some really not good kits. But they all have a picture of the one-in-one car of what the model kit is supposed to resemble. And this is one, and I still don't know how this came to be in my stash, but it came to be in my stash. We've seen the Revell 65 Stingray before. It's not exactly a great kit. It's not highly detailed, and we probably built it 100 times. This one came to be in my kit, and it's supposed to be a version from a TV show. Well, I've never even heard of this TV show, so I went and I looked it up. I Googled it, and I'm like, oh, okay. I vaguely kind of remember something like that, but I guess it was like a private detective or whatever. He's like really mysterious. His name was Stingray, and he drove around this blacked out Stingray. But anyway, a lot of the box art back in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, stuff like that looks like this, and of one-in-one cars or what have you. And there's some of my least favorite box art. Now, don't get me wrong. I cut these things out and I pasted them to my wall because, they were, the cars are pretty cool. But some of the box art is some of my least favorite box art. Matter of fact, that's it right there. My daughter and I were supposed to be doing some Corvette builds, and we were going to do them the same color and everything. She was doing the AMT 63 and I was doing this 65. But those plans fell through. But anyway, that's all I got about the box art. And I'm seeing some of you guys' videos and I'm just blown away. We have a lot in common, and then there's other kits that I'd long forgotten that you guys are bringing up, and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, look at that. The box art on those are amazing. Now I also wanna I told Louis Meyer, the autistic modeler, about it, but there's a group on Facebook that some of the people that did the box art on model kits and stuff belong to. And I can't readily remember the name, but it's there. And they feature some of their box art, and they tell backstories about it and how they came up with the box art and all kinds of things. And it's pretty interesting. You should look it up. It's something in industry insiders, box art artists. I don't recall, but you should look it up. And you can actually chat with some of the people that came up with some of this box art. And, that's all I got for today. I hope you guys have a great day. And I'm enjoying all your videos on the box art. Keep them coming.